Now there's something I want you to notice here. You notice how there's a 1 stamped on the end of this part of the chuck? Here we've got a 2. There's a 3. There's a 4. Well, the reason for that is because if you ever have to take your chuck apart to clean it out for some reason, you're going to get these back in the right place, because each one of these is ground slightly different from the other, so that the teeth on the back will match up with the, I don't know what you call it, but it's sort of a worm gear in there, only it's flat. Probably a name for it, I just don't know what it is. However, these pieces right here, I don't think they're numbered. Now, I could be wrong, but I think that each one of those is exactly the same. And in other words, this piece here, it won't have a 2 on it, and so on. I think they're all the same. I didn't see any numbers anywhere. I do have other jaws, and I'm just for the fun of it, I'm going to take a look at them, see if I see any numbers. The reason I'm bringing this up is because one of the viewers thought that possibly I wasn't matching jaw number 1 up with this part here of the chuck. But like I say, I don't think they've got numbers. Anyway, let's just look at the other ones. Now I should also add right here that I am very flattered that people are actually watching my videos this closely, that they're noticing little fine details like that. And I really do appreciate your comments. And this should also let you know I really do read your comments. And thank you. I have never seen any numbers on any of these jaws. Now, as long as we're over here and looking at jaws, one of the viewers thought that number 4, this is number 4, jaw number 4 was not grabbing onto the tenon here. So let's just take a little look. Well, I think it may have been some sort of an optical illusion, because it is biting in to the wood. Now, I did a pretty good job of turning this thing down pretty well. I wouldn't say perfectly round, but pretty round. And all 4 jaws are grabbing onto that tenon evenly. Okay, there we go. That's number 1, number 2, number 3, and back to number 4. Well, this is the spindle duplicator attachment for a lathe. This will fit pretty much any large lathe like this. And the idea is you would draw a template. Now, this is the template for that mantle clock that's upstairs right now that I made a couple of years ago. Remember 40 episodes or something like that? Anyway, what happens is this gets mounted on down here somehow. Okay, like this. And then this finger that you see right here, it rides along the contours that you've drawn out, and it moves the cutter in and out. The cutter's right here, by the way. And that's how it works. As this moves along, like that, the cutter goes in and out, follows the contour. It's pretty simple. Maybe a lot of you guys have actually used something like this. Anyway, what I've done is I've set this up in such a way that I can't accidentally go right into the jaws with the cutter if I get a little bit over exuberant. And there's another possibility here, and that is that this is not going to work. It could be that this is just going to take so long. And I had originally thought of using my my router and making some sort of a sled on the top here. And I was going to get all fancy and weld it up with steel and so on, and then the rotor would just slide along and it would be adjustable this way so that I could actually, taper this down. But there again, we're getting into a lot of work. I'd sooner be making a pen. Anyhow, What else can I show you about this? I'll just move in a little closer and I'll show you the cutter. So this little cutter right now, the end is extremely sharp. I sharpened it about a month ago when I was using it in my other lathe to turn down a pen blank of all things. So I know it's still very, very sharp. And the idea is, I'll show you that this will go in, you see, and catch on the wood. But anyway, that's the way that works. And then of course you move it back and forth very, very slowly. Very slowly. What happens with this particular spindle duplicator is that I find that when it pushes down on the cutter, when the wood catches and it pushes down, it has a tendency to want to pull the cutter in because of the way this thing is designed, I guess. So it has a tendency to grab. I think that if I had anything bad to say about it, that would be it. Now this is as far to the right that this will go. So I'm just leaving the strap on here. The jaw on the other end is going to help hold the rest of it together. I really don't think this is going to fly apart unless I was to be stupid and crank the RPM. So I just won't be stupid. However, that also means that the last little bit, I have to slide this whole thing over about 6 inches. You know, it's kind of a nuisance. You know, had my neighbor wanted the piece this much shorter, this thing would have accommodated it. But anyway, enough talking. Let's see if we can get this thing to go. Oh, one more thing. What I'm going to do is to get the cutter to advance into the work, I just turn this a little bit. And it will allow the cutter to go in as I turn this. And I'm guessing I can probably take off about a 32nd of an inch per pass. At least I'm hoping I can do that much. If it's any less, I'm going to be standing here all day. And my knees are killing me. Right about here is where this log is the most off-center. In other words, if this cutter was to go in a straight line, it will touch here first. Okay? You can see my finger being pushed back. There's quite a little bulge there. So I'm going to just slowly adjust the cutter in until it catches, and then just go back and forth from there. Okay, you can hear it's catching. I'll just work my way back and forth very, very slowly. Hey, we'll take a look at that, see what we got. And there you can see I took it down just a little. That might be a little less than a 32nd of an inch, but anyway, that's the way it's going to go. There's no use letting the camera run, you know, for 2 hours. Well, I can see right now this is going to take way too long. Because I've got to go in about 1 inch on this end, 2 inches on the other end. I've been working at this for about half an hour now. I got it, you know, that bulge is down a little bit, probably 1/4 of an inch. At least I can tell it's oak. It's starting to look like oak now. But anyway, it's going to take too long. I'm going to have to think of something else. I was afraid that this spindle duplicator wouldn't work. Too bad.